Okay, this is about question 1 of your mock exam, which is also paper 2, question 1 in the real exam. This is the essay on language diversity. At the end of year 2, you get a choice of these questions. So there's one on language diversity, one on language change, but we haven't studied language change yet. So in the mock, it will definitely be on language diversity. Um, so language diversity topics, that it'll be one or more of these, okay? Sometimes the question refers to one specific issue, sometimes it's a bit more general, okay? So it might refer to gender or class or age or region or occupation or ethnicity, or it might say something like social groups, all right, language and social groups, which could be any of those things. And in fact, you might want to deal with 2 or 3 of those things if that's the case. For this mock exam, I won't do a question on either gender or ethnicity because everyone has at least partly done those since we've been on lockdown and therefore not seeing you face to face. So those are things I'd like to kind of recap and revise when we're all back together before you do anything else with them, really. Okay, so the topics on the exam will be one or more of class, age, region or occupation. Okay, the questions always start with the word evaluate. So for instance, the one we're going to look at examples from is this, okay? Evaluate the idea that a person's language is affected by the region they live in. That's not the question on your mock, okay? That's the question we're going to just look at as our example here. Evaluate means to kind of weigh up the evidence, okay? So to judge whether that statement is true or not, a person's language is affected by the region they live in, by kind of weighing up the evidence and kind of looking at whether that's accurate or not. So for a good grade, this is what you need to be doing. You show your linguistic knowledge, okay? That's the most important thing. So that means names of theorists, named studies. It means also, though, referring to specific linguistic features and using terminology. There's tons of revision stuff on that I've shared on Teams, but you've also got it all elsewhere, really. But the kind of knowledge organisers and the revision cards are all on Teams, and some short writing tasks and things to kind of help you. So you have to know your stuff, but that's not enough on its own, okay? You also have to evaluate what you know. So that means challenging them, weighing them up in different ways, okay? And we'll see that at work in a minute. So hopefully when you look at an example, you'll see what I mean. And also, you've got to remember to answer the question you've been asked, okay? And the simplest way to do that is to keep referring back to keywords from the question so that you're not wandering too far off the point. All right. So we've done these essays. We've done several of these essays through the course of the year. I've been really impressed with the work that my group have done. So I'm think you know what you're doing here, all right? So this is just recapping. This is not new information today. All right, let's run through the structure of the essay, and while we're doing that, I'll point out in the example some good things that this particular person has done, some ways in which this is a really good A grade, okay? So the examples I'm giving you are from a real student essay, and this student got full marks for this essay, okay? So 30 marks out of 30. In the intro, you just need to be really brief, reframe the question, rewrite it in your own words, or set out the terms of your argument. So look at this one. This is the whole introduction to that question about region, okay, that we looked at on a previous slide. A person's language can be greatly affected by the region they live in. However, there are other factors such as class, gender and social groups which also have a significant impact on a person's language. So that's just telling you, it's answering the question in a sentence. This is what I'm going to write about, okay? So that's a really brief answer to the question. And that's your intro. And then you need maybe 3 main paragraphs, okay? 4 if you really feel like you've got time and got something else to say. 3 is absolutely fine. In each of those main paragraphs, you need to explain and discuss a particular study or a particular kind of theory or model approach that seems to support the idea expressed in the question, but then do a bit of evaluation, right? So if that study or theory could also challenge the question, you need to discuss how it does that. And then at the end of the paragraph, a little mini conclusion that answers the question. So that'll keep you on topic. Let's look at an example. Okay, so let me see if I can highlight this a little bit for you. So this is from that essay on region. Sorry about my highlighting. So you've got a topic sentence straight away. Linguist Rose One first identified estuary English, which is a blend of RP, Standard English and Cockney. So topic sentence straight to the point, okay, and then straight in with the kind of linguistic knowledge. So what have we got in that sentence that shows your linguistic knowledge? You've got the name of the theorist, you've got estuary, RP, Standard English, Cockney, okay. Then there's a bit of detail about what that study shows, including some detailed linguistic terms and some identification rather than analysis of linguistic features. My underlining is a bit wobbly. So again, use of terminology, identifying some features, glottaling, L vocalization. And then a kind of wider concept that back to the kind of wider concept theory, convergence, okay, and explaining what this study shows. Okay, so the study shows, yeah, people, it is about region, okay, people's language is affected by region, because people around London with the RP accent wouldn't have developed estuary had it not been for living in the southeast with people with a Cockney accent, right? It's all about that kind of convergence. But then here comes the evaluative bit, the challenge. Okay, so yes, it does show that region is important, but look, it also shows that social mobility and social groups have an effect on people's language. Okay, because Cockney is a working class variety generally, RP is a middle class variety, so it's the social mixing, the social mobility which has led to the social mixing of those two groups that's led to estuary. So it's not just about region, it's about social mobility and social class, and that's what this conclusion shows. Okay, so you've got your little mini conclusion there. So that's what I mean by evaluative, all right? You've got your knowledge about Rosewarne and the linguistic features of estuary, but then you've got your evaluation of what that means in relation to the question. So it means, yep, language is affected by region, but also it's affected by social mobility. So that's evaluative. It's kind of weighing up the evidence in relation to the question. Perfect paragraph. Remember, this student got full marks. This is a real student essay, and it got full marks. Okay. When you've done 3 or 4 of those paragraphs, which is obviously easier said than done, you do your conclusion, answer the question again, okay, based on the evidence you've just discussed. So give me your answer to the question based on what you've just talked about. All right, so just to finish off, remember, it's about linguistic knowledge, but it's also about weighing the evidence and debating the question a little bit. So what does this study or theory or idea tell us about the answer to the question? Does it prove the statement in the question is correct? Is it a bit more kind of debatable than that? You want to get some of that debate in there. Linguistic knowledge is really important though, okay? It shouldn't be about, you know, what do you think? It's not about that, okay? It's about what have other linguists found, not you, but other linguists, you know, and what have they got to say about this issue? So you need to know your stuff, and that's why the revision material is there on Teams for you, okay? So hopefully this is a bit helpful. You've got a Word document with a little bit more of this information on Teams, and also some more examples of paragraphs, I think, on Teams as well in that revision material. Plus you've got like a writing frame for the essay that just reminds you what you should be doing in the introduction, in the main body, in the conclusion. Okay, so that's there. So feel free to use that writing frame. You know, have a look at that just before you start the essay question. Okay, and there's one for question 2, which I'm also putting a video up for. Okay, there's a writing frame for that as well, so that'll help you. All right, good luck everyone.